Alright guys, so I have fully unlocked all the different essences for the wizard, so it's time that I start updating my builds. Now, by this time you've already seen my most toxic PvP build that I've ever made. Last week I came out with my farm build, and now I want to talk about my raid build. That way you can utilize this in your raids, for your warbands, or for your gauntlets, whatever you want to do. But let's get straight to it. Now, the biggest thing to know is even though I have all of the essences, I'm not actually utilizing the frost one for this. The frost one is like all the new frost gear I don't think gives you enough damage to make it truly viable. So instead, I'll just show you what I'm rocking in its place. Now, this is very similar to the last raid build video that I made with some minor adjustments because again, I haven't been on the wizard in a while. So this build is new to me and new to the channel, but you might have seen similar versions of this because I'm basically using essences that have been out since before the most recent essence bunch came out. Because again, the frost one just isn't doing it for me. So I am using a 4-piece Vithus, and then I'm also using a 4-piece Grace of the Flagellant. Now, for the overall build, we'll go into the damage. Wow. If my pet stops attacking. So we're going to go into the damage now that my pet has decided to, not be aggro. And I will show you, after we do like about a minute, I'll show you what the overall build is. And of course, I'll go into the Paragon trees and all those good things. Now, again, your numbers may vary. My secondary stats are not as good as probably most of you, honestly, at this point. Let me back up a hair to get a little bit more damage. I'll show you why later on in the video. But yeah, so Wizard has always been a good one for me in terms of overall damage. But again, your damage could vary based off your builds. Every time I do one of these builds, I get absolutely destroyed in the comments. Be like, you only did blah, 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 and I could do so much blah, 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 and I could blah, blah, blah. It's just all bro's still yapping, basically. You know what? And those of you that are going to be yapping in this video, like, I still love you. I appreciate the engagement on the video, but could we just stop the yapping? All right, so got 15 more seconds to go. It's a very easy build. You don't have to move. It allows you to focus on primary attacking a lot. Are we going to get over 100 mil? Yeah. You did it. It looks like we've maintained just under 2 mil DPS this whole time. Go ahead and pause it. So 114 mil damage. Still at the very end was averaging almost 2 million damage per second. I feel pretty good about that, but a lot of you are probably going to think that's bad. And that's fine, because you're probably having better secondary stats and blah, 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 blah. But those of you that actually want the build, I am utilizing the Silver Lining, which is going to be the black hole now devours the power of enemies caught within it, increasing the damage you deal by 28.5% for 6 seconds. So that's why you just constantly cast Black Hole because of the cooldown. You can almost get 100% uptime on this debuff. For the chest, we're using Rampant and Inscrutable, which is going to be where Lightning Nova now conjures a lightning orb that attacks with you every time you primary attack. Thus, the 4-piece Vithus fits that swell. Crystalline Shadow is going to be the Disintegrate now summons an arcane deputy that follows you and channels a disintegrate beam at enemies. Disintegrate damage increased by 18%. For the Pantalones, Hastened Oblivion, which is Disintegrate's cooldown is reduced by 1.6 seconds when damaging enemies up to a maximum of 4.8 seconds. I'm using this, and this is different than I think from a lot of other people's build because it helps you keep 100% uptime on Disintegrate. Main hand 1, we're using Volatile Arbiter, which is going to be Magic Missile explodes every 3 hits, dealing 19k damage to surrounding enemies, and then damage increased. Offhand 1 is Blaster Cast, which is giving you the additional bolts for Magic Missile, so you get the 2 smaller ones on either side of the main missile. Old Rustic is going to be Lightning Nova also increases your primary attack speed, which makes sense because we're also using it. It'll do more damage every time we do our primary attack, so it goes hand in hand very well. And then, I'm not even going to try to say that one. The last offhand is Black Hole. Instead, conjures a unstable star, which explodes when it expires, damaging nearby enemies. Black Hole damage increased. So again, it's all about buffing yourself and your attack speed and your damage while basically debuffing the target and then maintaining 100% of the Disintegrate the whole time. So pretty straightforward build. Again, I feel pretty good about my damage. Your results may vary. For the Paragon tree, I am using a Slinger. First one is Careful Aim, and then I'm using Sharp Eye, Unseen Dynamism, and then I'm using Uncanny, and then Gifted. So those are my Paragon trees. If you're curious what my curse stuff is, I am using Where is it? Where is it? I gotta remember where curse is. There it is. So I'm using 3 lash pieces, which I typically do a 4-piece of the lashed. So your primary attacks now have a chance to generate 3 crackling whips that target the enemy and deal 24% of your damage per second over 3 seconds to enemy. Blah, blah, blah. Cannot affect more often than 20 seconds. So I usually have at least a 4 stack of that. And then what's the other one I run? This one's not even on, so I need to work on that. Anyway, make sure you're checking your curse properties before you go into raids. I personally like Lash the best. The other one that does like the AoE on the ground as my second one that I usually go for, so I usually get 4-piece of Lash and then 2-piece of that one that does like the AoE on the ground. I forgot what its name is, but I'm sure you can figure it out. And that's basically it for the build, guys. I'm a big fan of the Wizard. I enjoy being back on the Wizard, but unfortunately, it is time for me to say goodbye, and I will be class changing very, very soon. If not already by the time you see this video. Actually, definitely already by the time you see this video. So, for me in the future, hopefully you picked the right class and we're having fun on it because I enjoyed the heck out of my Wizard and unlocking all the essences for it. But that's going to do it for today's video, guys. A nice, short little banger. That way you can see and play with the new raid build. I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, have a good day and hope to see you in a video soon.